Hello, friends. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman recently dropped a bombshell, declaring that artificial intelligence will soon make significant scientific discoveries. Now, wait a minute, you might be thinking AI is just a chatbot, right? Helping you write emails or summarize documents? Altman says that era is over. What he's working on now is called a discovery engine. So, what's the difference between these two? A chatbot is like a passive librarian. You ask it something, and it finds and summarizes information from existing human knowledge. A discovery engine, on the other hand, is an active creator. It's designed to autonomously handle entire research projects and uncover things humans don't yet know. Why introduce this new concept? Well, a chatbot can't justify Altman's rumored $1.4 trillion infrastructure investment, nor its terrifying power consumption. But a discovery engine that can cure diseases and discover new materials? That's a different story. For this, he's even laid out a very aggressive timeline. The 2026 goal is to develop an intern-level research assistant. This assistant would help scientists making small scientific discoveries. It's still a tool, but one that could increase scientists' efficiency by 2 to 3 times. By 2028, the goal is to deliver a fully automated, legitimate AI researcher. This entity wouldn't need human supervision. It would be able to autonomously deliver larger research projects and achieve major breakthroughs. Notice that word, autonomous. It's no longer just a tool, it becomes your colleague. So, how will this be achieved? Through brute force. Behind this is an extremely expensive and complex engineering roadmap. There are 2 key points. First, expanding test time computation. This means letting the model spend more time thinking about problems. For example, when you ask ChatGPT a question now, it instantly gives you an answer. This is System 1 fast thinking. The future model is that you give it a difficult problem like curing cancer, and it will call upon the entire data center's computing power, spending days and nights in slow thinking. Second, expanding time horizon. Current AI has a very short attention span, only about a 5-hour thinking window, which is far from enough for complex research. The future aims to extend this to weeks, months, or even years to solve real scientific challenges. What will be the consequences of this? A computation monopoly. When the cost of thinking directly equals the energy cost, and when a major discovery requires a 30-gigawatt data center to run, who can still afford to play? The answer is giants like OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, and Meta. Universities, startups, and even most countries might be deprived of the ability to conduct basic scientific discovery. As soon as Altman made this statement, the entire tech community exploded, mainly divided into 2 camps. First, the skeptical camp, or the stochastic parrot faction. Key figures include Meta's chief scientist Yann LeCun and scholar Gary Marcus. Their core argument is that large language models are merely stochastic parrots. They perform super advanced pattern matching, but lack genuine understanding or causal reasoning abilities. Yann LeCun even said that we are still far from cat-level intelligence, and Altman's timeline is almost certainly not going to happen. Second, the believer camp, or the emergent intelligence faction. Key figures include Sam Altman and futurist Ray Kurzweil. Their core argument is that they believe in emergent capabilities. To translate, this means quantitative change leads to qualitative change. When you stack enough model parameters, data, and computing power, it will suddenly learn new, unpredictable skills you didn't teach it, such as logical reasoning or solving math problems. They believe that AI has already demonstrated superhuman performance in areas like math competitions. What's at stake in this debate? It concerns whether AI is predictable. If the believers are right, then we are building a black box with unpredictable capabilities. Accelerating its development would be extremely reckless. If the skeptics are right, then AI's capabilities are stable and predictable, we can manage it safely, and Altman's acceleration is a reasonable engineering practice. I never. While they are arguing, AI scientists are already starting to work in the reality of 2025. Case 1, discovering new materials. In 2023, a team from Johns Hopkins University announced that they used AI to discover a new type of superconductor. AI worked backward from desired properties, deriving the material that could achieve these properties, which was an alloy of zirconium, indium, and nickel. The most astonishing part is that the entire process of discovery, manufacturing, and verification took only 3 months. Case 2, drug discovery. This field is even more mature. In 2020, the first drug molecule entirely designed by AI entered human clinical trials. In 2022, AI simultaneously discovered new disease targets and new molecules, and clinical trials were initiated. DeepMind's AlphaFold predicted 200 million protein structures. By 2023, AI was already able to create and validate new antibodies in silico. So, are the skeptics wrong? Not entirely. The real-world success stories reveal the true form of an AI scientist. It's not a single large language model, but a hybrid pipeline. In this model, the large language model acts as a director or collaborative scientist. It's responsible for reading literature, proposing hypotheses, and planning pathways. Then, it commands a host of specialized tools, such as AlphaFold, simulators, and robots, to execute experiments and analyze data. Now that we've discussed the technology, let's talk about something even more exciting: capital and control. You might think OpenAI is an independent, fresh startup, but don't forget its major backer, Microsoft. Their relationship is quite complex. In the original agreement from 2019, there was a critical AGI clause. The clause stipulated that once the OpenAI board declared AGI had been achieved, Microsoft's exclusive intellectual property and exclusive hosting rights would immediately terminate. This was practically a contractual time bomb. During the drama of Altman's brief dismissal in 2023, Microsoft was terrified. A potentially rogue OpenAI board, by simply holding a meeting and declaring AGI was achieved, could instantly destroy Microsoft's entire AI strategy. What could Microsoft do? I've invested tens of billions and you're kicking me out with a single sentence? So, after the 2023 coup, both parties signed a new final agreement in October 2025 to defuse the bomb. This new agreement stipulated 2 things. First, any future AGI declaration by OpenAI would not count. It would have to be verified by an independent panel of experts. Second, Microsoft's intellectual property contract was extended until 2032 and now includes post-AGI models. This time, Microsoft won big. When AGI arrives is no longer important. Their meal ticket is secured until 2032. Altman's 2028 prediction ultimately points to a social problem. Will we usher in a utopia of abundance or the anxiety of widespread white-collar unemployment? Altman's philosophy of abundance believes that AI is exponentially driving down the cost of intelligence, which will lead to widely distributed abundance. But how will this abundance be distributed? The answer is WorldCoin, another project Altman is simultaneously advancing. OpenAI is the engine responsible for creating abundance and unemployment. WorldCoin is the distribution network. Its goals are to distinguish humans from AI and to become a potential pathway for AI-funded universal basic income. What is the cost of this abundance? It's the large-scale unemployment of non-routine cognitive professions. This time, the target isn't blue-collar workers, but the once most secure white-collar workers: scientists, engineers, lawyers, and analysts. Goldman Sachs estimates 300 million jobs globally. Anthropic's CEO warns that unemployment could soar to 20%, and half of all entry-level white-collar jobs could disappear within 1 to 5 years. This forms a perfect closed loop. OpenAI, through large-scale cognitive automation, destroys the old social contract. WorldCoin is a global UBI distribution platform, becoming the infrastructure for the new contract. Sam Altman is simultaneously building an engine that will hollow out the global white-collar economy and a proprietary toll booth to enter his promised new era of abundance. Finally, let's look at the most challenging and often overlooked legal crisis. If the autonomous AI researcher of 2028 truly makes a significant discovery, such as curing Alzheimer's disease, could it win a Nobel Prize? More importantly, who owns the intellectual property of this discovery? Patent law is very clear. An inventor must be a natural person. AI cannot be listed as an inventor. Copyright law similarly requires human authorship. The US Copyright Office's position is that works entirely generated by AI without significant human creative input are not protected by copyright. From the moment they are created, they immediately enter the public domain. Now, here's the contradiction. Now, OpenAI is investing $1.4 trillion to build an autonomous AI researcher. The sole economic purpose of this researcher is to generate high-value intellectual property, such as new drugs. Under current law, the output of this autonomous researcher can neither be patented nor copyrighted. This represents a fundamental business model collapse. The more successful OpenAI is in its autonomous goals, the less legal protection its discoveries will have. Investors who have poured trillions into this will never accept a return to the public domain. So, in the future, there are only two possibilities. First, lobbying. Companies will launch large-scale lobbying efforts to fundamentally change patent and copyright laws, allowing AI to be recognized as an inventor. Second, trade secrets. Companies will completely abandon the patent system. They will strictly protect everything their AI discovers, such as cancer-curing molecules or new materials, as trade secrets. If the second scenario occurs, AI scientists will never publish their research. This would be the privatization of all scientific discovery, the end of the era of open science. That AI Nobel Prize will never be awarded because the discovery will never be made public. Sam Altman's 2028 prediction is an engineering blueprint, a capital tool, and even more so, a social and legal ultimatum. So, is AI a tool, a colleague, or a boss? The intern of 2026 is a tool. The AI researcher of 2028 is a colleague, one who will eventually surpass you. And the UBI system, centrally managed by WorldCoin, created to address all of this, is the new economic boss. These three will occur sequentially and at an accelerating pace. Our existing patent law, labor market, and governance models are moving at a linear, slow pace. But what Altman is building is an exponentially accelerating engine. This race has already begun.